We've seen a lot of momentum over the past, certainly year and a half in particular, and I think it's as word is spreading across the state about the effectiveness of what's called an industry sector partnership, which is our model. It's getting the attention of people that can bring some resources to the table and can help really accelerate some of our work.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
It wasn't my idea, it was Brian Benio's idea, but we heard about it. I was at the public workforce system at the time. I worked for Mahoning and Columbiana Training Association, and we got this call from our buddies at the Career Center, and they said, there's this group of manufacturers who are getting together and they're talking about workforce. Have you heard anything about that? And so I said, no, I hadn't, but I found out that it was Brian who was leading the discussion. So we reached out and had a meeting with him and talked to him about how we might be able to bring something to the table and work in partnership. And I think he was a little skeptical at first, but as it turned out, he gave us a call a couple weeks later and we started talking about how he could organize the manufacturers to have more of a common voice and a common agenda, and we could organize the partners and bring everybody together for a real community-wide solution. I switched over and I've served as the executive director then from the very early days, and so for 10 years now I've been the executive director of the coalition. We had a lot of foundational work to do at the beginning, a lot of work with the education and training partners to get on the same page, to shore up their curriculum, to embed industry recognized credentials, to increase the quality of the students and the graduates coming out of those programs. And more recently, it's been a focus on how do we really get out into the community to reach individuals who are not otherwise considering manufacturing. We feel confident in the training programs that we have in the Valley. Now we just need to make sure that they're full and that they're getting connected with our manufacturers. We've seen a lot of momentum over the past, certainly year and a half in particular, and I think it's as word is spreading across the state about the effectiveness of what's called an industry sector partnership, which is our model. It's getting the attention of people that can bring some resources to the table and can help really accelerate some of our work.
Can you tell us some of the training programs that may have changed or evolved based on what the manufacturers needed?
Yeah, so our very first focus was machining. It was the very first critical need, and so we started there first at the high school level with our career and technical centers. They agreed to have consistent curriculum across the board. We then worked with their adult programs at the career and technical centers to do the same. And then from there, when Eastern Gateway came on the scene, we talked about how do we really think about this as a system, so somebody could get some entry-level training at the Career Center, build on that to an associate's degree with Eastern Gateway, and also into apprenticeships where manufacturers are also doing their part. So it's been sort of a strategic plan to organize all of those. So machining was probably our first big strategy. Industrial maintenance now is up and running. We didn't have in the past. Welder fitter, an apprenticeship for welder fitters is something new. We've got pre-apprenticeships at every one of the career and technical centers for our high school students. New automation and robotics programming. So there's quite a few programs that were either built from scratch or improved as a result of the effort.
What about the electric vehicle industry? How will you serve that?
So we're in discussions now. We actually are using part of our General Motors Community Reinvestment funding to map out a career pathway, just like we've done with the other pathways in machining, industrial maintenance, and so forth. And so we're doing some independent research right now. We're working with Altium to kind of map out the skills and competencies that they need, and then just really looking at our landscape of partners to see, what gaps do we need to fill to serve that new and emerging market.
So 10 years from now, what do you see?
I hope we see a flourishing manufacturing environment. I hope we see a diverse and full workforce in manufacturing. I hope we are changing more and more lives by getting people connected with those manufacturing careers and overall success economically.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
I like a bank that's a pillar in my community.
I like a bank so cutting edge, they have a lab branch.
We are so alike.
Well, we do both bank at Farmers National Bank.
Farmers.
Stand strong.